All the possible changes coming up in 2025 under the new administration. Looks like a new Senate, a new House of Representatives, a Supreme Court. So even if Harris won, I would be here talking about what's going to happen in the future because Social Security is at a critical point, and something needs to be done very, very soon in order to make sure we continue to get our checks in the future. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Ed Weir. I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country. And now I help people throughout the country make sure they're getting everything they're entitled to: Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, all the rest of it. This is also a live Q&A. So I see tons of questions already. One of my missions in my retirement is to make sure y'all are getting everything you're entitled to. So I'm going to talk about 9 different important things that we're going to have to watch for 2025. Number 4 and number 9, the very last one, are the most important things, but we're going to talk about those in order, and maybe it take about 15, 16, 18 minutes to talk about all of those, and then I'm going to open it up to y'all so you can ask any questions, and let's make sure your check is correct or you're making the right decision going forward. Okay, number 1. With any president, going back to FDR, the first 100 days is crucial. So as soon as President-elect Trump is sworn into office, that 100 days, it's kind of a crazy thing. And just FDR, it's no real significance necessarily. It seems like every president always wants to do more the first 100 days. So I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've seen presidents come and go and come and go, and they're always trying to do something the first 100 days to kind of, cement their kind of, their legacy. And Social Security is a big part of that. Medicare is a big part of that. So we'll see something coming in the first 100 days. And then, and one thing definitely, they haven't, President-elect Trump hasn't chosen a commissioner, but the current commissioner of the Social Security Administration, which everybody thinks has been doing a pretty good job given the limitations, has been doing a good job. He's definitely going to be let go, I think. And a new commissioner will come in, and as soon as the new commissioner is appointed, we'll talk about that person and see what it looks like. Another thing, so number 2 is the first 100 days are extremely important. Again, kind of arbitrary, but the first 2 years are also super important as well, because if you have the House now, House of Representatives, they get reelected every 2 years. So if something, the House controls the purse strings. So if something goes to the House, goes to the Senate, it's approved, signed by the president. Right now, looks to be a sympathetic House, so might be different in 2 years. So there's a kind of a 2-year deadline. Number 3 is kind of an interesting kind of development. Elon Musk is going to be the lead of the Department of Government Efficiency. Not exactly. That's not necessarily a cabinet post that has ever existed before, but hey, great. We like efficiency, no matter where it is. And he has mentioned $1 to $2 trillion in cuts to save taxpayer money. We always love that. Social Security and Medicare is a humongous part of the government. So hopefully those cuts are done with a scalpel rather than a sledgehammer. In some places, possibly a sledgehammer. But in terms of Social Security, again, running the third business Social Security office in the country, I know there's a lot can be improved, but one of the problems right now is that we're at a low time in terms of staffing. Social Security is understaffed, the lowest for about 50 years. And that's the reason I came out of retirement and started doing these videos and doing these live Q&As, is because of number 4, too many people right now the fact today is they're losing their benefits. So there's essentially a benefit cut happening today, and there's a benefit cut that's been happening for decades. And that is the Social Security Administration. You call them up, they don't pick up the phone. Sometimes you get incorrect information, misinformed. You go onto social media, and social media is not help. You got a lot of people out there, they're calling themselves experts with Social Security, but they've never worked for Social Security. They've never adjudicated claims. And a lot of people are given incorrect information. And one thing about the government is if you make the wrong decision at the wrong time, then you're going to pay for it for the rest of their life. You can't do it over. Another big thing that's happening right now is Medicare. This is a fact that's happening right now. is close to 2 million Medicare plans have been canceled for 2025, and many more have been downgraded. Many more have your health insurance, Medicare insurance company has switched you from one plan to another, and it might be good for you, it might not be good for you. So it's important that you go ahead and check those plans. You have until December 7th. And in terms of Social Security benefits, let's make sure you make the right decision. If you're about to file for Social Security, let's make sure you made the right decision when you file. Let's see if there's any way we can fix your benefits in case you've done something wrong. And let's make sure your check is correct and make sure you help those people around you. If you need help with all things Medicare, let me go ahead and pop up. I've found a resource y'all can reach out to. You call Chapter there and they can help you out with all things Medicare. All right. So number 5 is the trust fund is emptying out. Basically, so right now, as things stand today, the Social Security Board of Trustees, the Congressional Budget Office, they've all run the numbers, and we're looking at about 2034, 2035, where the trust fund will run out, and all the money coming in will be coming in based on what comes in the door that month. So you get X amount of money in the door, and you have to pay out. So basically, every check you get right now, let's say, is you're getting every $100 you get, $80 of that comes from people currently working. People down at the grocery store, at your restaurant, the gas station, wherever. Those people pay FICA taxes. That goes into FICA into the trust fund, or not really trust fund, but it's kind of just feds right through. $80 of that is fed right through to you. $20 shortfall. Where does that $20 come from? It comes from the trust fund. So we're currently taking money out of the trust fund, and that trust fund will be empty in about 2034, 2035. And we're looking at cuts anywhere from 17%, 20%, 33%. It really depends on what we decide to do. And hopefully we make the right decision and we do something where we get 0 cuts. But that's one of the most important things right now is we need to do something quickly. In terms of President-elect Trump, the first term, no real big changes to Social Security per se. He did in his presidential budgets pretty much every year attempt to cut SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, which is a welfare-based program, SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, and Medicaid. Medicaid is run by the states, but it's kind of a state federal partnership that funds both of those. And in terms of cuts, worker requirements, putting people back to work, and a certain element of that is definitely needed. Social Security Disability, SSI, I help people here with those going back to work. There's a trial work period, there's extended period of eligibility, there's ticket to work programs, there's a lot of different programs to help people go back to work if they're receiving SSI or SSDI. Could it be better? Everything could be better. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what type of changes come about. And if they change the rules and regulations of going back to work, then I will keep you abreast of those. One of the things that President-elect Trump has talked about is ending taxes on Social Security benefits. Y'all don't care what my opinion is. My mission, I'm an old Marine Corps sergeant, so I always have to have a mission. My mission in my semi-retirement is to make sure Social Security and Medicare is around here for us and our kids and our grandkids, and it's sustainable, and we get everything, the 100% we paid into. So my personal opinion is taxes should have never started on Social Security benefits because you get taxed once and you have to pay taxes again. But that was started under Reagan in the early 1980s. It's 50% up to 85%. It was raised later. And so President-elect Trump says he's going to end taxes on Social Security, which, okay, I have no issue with that. But one of the problems with that is currently the people that pay taxes on Social Security benefits, about half of people don't pay taxes on Social Security benefits, the people that have just basically their Social Security income alone. But if you have your Social Security income and you also work, or you have other type of investments coming in, then those are the people that pay taxes. So this is not going to help, just the people that are relying on Social Security alone. It's going to help the people that, that, that have other sources of income. And it's going to hurt that are only living on Social Security alone, because those taxes, if I put the link to the Social Security trustees report in the description. I put both, everything I'm talking about, you'll see two links in the description. So if you don't believe me, go into the Committee for Responsible Budget, and it's the Social Security trustees report, and you can go in there, read the pages and pages and pages if you want. But essentially, about $50 billion a year comes into Social Security that pays out current recipients from taxes on that Social Security. So you can look at the Social Security trustees report. And so $50 billion comes in, and that's what we use. So if that stops, then that's going to take away from the trust fund. We have to take that out of the trust fund instead of current receipts, and that will end the trust fund sooner. And then there's other things that you think it's not going to affect Social Security, but it will. Mass deportation. You've seen different estimates. People working in this country illegally pay into Social Security, but they never get anything back. They're working under incorrect, fake Social Security numbers or whatever the case may be, but they pay into Social Security, pay into Medicare, and they can't get it back because they're not in the country legally. So those are pretty, anywhere from 20 to $30 billion a year. If that mass deportation starts, that's another 20 or $30 billion taken out of yearly receipts. No taxes on overtime, no taxes on tips. My mother was a waitress in a breakfast diner, and I can't say I can't be bad about no taxes on tips, 100%. So, but that's going to reduce incoming receipts as well, and that's going to put another strain on the trust fund, and will end it sooner. And then tariffs raises the price for pretty much everything coming in the United States. And when prices are raised, that means higher COLAs, and that's another strain on the on the trust fund. So you can look at the report that goes into the details. All the money is, so if all of those programs are passed, then we're looking at about 3 years earlier. We're looking at about 2031, and instead of 20% cuts, we're looking at about 33% cuts. So 33% cuts in 2031 if all of that is instituted. So, and you say, okay, well, yes, shouldn't have tax. I kind of agree with you. Shouldn't have taxes on tips. Yes, I agree with you. The other stuff, whether it's good or bad, whatever your particular political leaning is, doesn't matter. It's how it affects the Social Security Trust Fund. I'm a one-trick pony here. All I'm going to talk about is the Social Security Trust Fund and making sure our benefits here for the future. And in this particular case, something has to fill that gap. So I looked for everything, current policies and current plans and everything to fill that gap, and I haven't found anything yet. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's not out there. I just haven't seen anything in President-elect's proposals to fill that gap of cutting the taxes and overtime and all the rest of it. What are the things that possibly could be done to fill those gaps? Increase FICA taxes for everybody. So the payroll taxes you pay right now at 6.2%, your employer pays 6.2%. So that could increase for everybody. The retirement age, he said he's not going to raise the retirement age, but that is a possibility. But he said he was not going to do that. He said he was not going to cut benefits. That's one way to close the gap, is to cut benefits. He said he's not going to do that. Another way out there is means testing benefits. That if you are entitled to $3,000 a month, because that's you paid into it all those years, and your monthly benefit is $3,000 a month, but you have $500,000 in the bank account, they might say, well, no, Social Security benefits only goes to people that actually need it. So that is a proposal out there. I'm not saying it's Trump, or I'm not saying it's Harris, or I'm not saying it's whoever. I'm saying these are proposals out there that have been talked about for years. And if you have another proposal, another idea to fill those gaps, please put it in your chat down there. Another idea is to just go ahead and forget Social Security at all. privatize it, give it over to Wall Street, and see what happens there. Another one is to raise the FICA cap. And what that is basically you and I, probably, unless you're super wealthy, um, we pay FICA, the Social Security 6.2, and an employer pays 6.2 on all of our income. If, up to $168,600. If you make over $168,600, you don't pay FICA, Social Security FICA anymore. So if you make $2 million a year, you pay what, 1% or something of it. Elon Musk, he probably fulfills his FICA after, January 1st at, you know, uh, 5 minutes into the new year, he's already earned his $168,000. So he already paid his FICA. So for the rest of the year, he doesn't pay any FICA anymore, or Jeff Bezos or whoever you want, Zuckerberg or whoever. But us regular schmoes, we pay FICA tax from January 1st to December 31st. So one of the ideas is to raise that cap so everybody pays that FICA on everything. It's not going to raise ours because we're already paying it, but it's going to raise it on the other ones. So those are the options. Those are proposals out there politically. I don't care politically what you believe one way or the other. We're talking about saving Social Security and making sure we don't get cuts. That's what we need to focus on. And all of the other shiny objects, we need to kind of put away and focus on the important things at this particular moment, because something needs to get done. Okay, let's go ahead and move into all of the questions here. I'm just going to kind of skip the, okay, here we go. The Fairness Act is on the floor. Oh, I guess that's another thing that's going to put strain on Social Security. The Fairness Act is basically, there's a small portion of government workers, particularly state, city, local, that don't pay Social Security in their main jobs. They did pay Social Security at one time, when they were young, or they work part-time and they pay Social Security. So I did a video on this a few days ago, very controversial. What basically the situation is, there's called bin points. When they calculate your Social Security benefits, Congress has decided to give more to low-income wage earners, up to 90%. And then it goes to 32% and 15%. It's a progressive system for calculating your benefits. These workers are getting the benefit like they're low-income workers, but they're not, because their main sources of income were not reported to Social Security. So it says it's the Fairness Act, but it's not the Fairness Act. It's the Unfairness Act, because how come we, the rest of our country, don't get 90% and they get 90% replacement rate of what they paid in Social Security? So the question for those people that are pushing this, number one, why are there bin points, 90, 32, and 15? It's a progressive thing. Explain that. And number two, why do they even call it the windfall elimination provision? What windfall are they trying to eliminate? So answer those two questions and then get back to me. All right, let's see here. Other questions. Yes, a lot of people says, a lot of people stressed out about it, and don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to bring this to your attention. People say, well, don't talk about it until it's already done. Well, then it's already done, unfortunately. So, all right. You and I paid our dues. I would rather have stayed working. All right, let's see. Yeah. They have been trying to mess us up for long, and now they're going to be successful. Yeah, and it really depends on us. Now, after Medicare Parts A and B and an Advantage plan, I will live on $300 a week from now on. Yeah, so hopefully nothing happens here. Okay, let's see. Joanne, I am 66 years old, widow. I work full-time, and I have been told that I can start collecting January 2025 on my spouse Social Security and let mine till 70. My full retirement is April 2025. No, that is okay. Wait, yes, you're a widow. Yes, you can. Okay, so you're a widow. That is the exception. So if you are receiving surviving spouse benefits, which Social Security, that's what they call it, surviving spouse benefits, widow benefits, same thing. So you can, yes, you can file for survivor benefits start collecting survivor benefits and don't touch your own and let your own increase. Yours will increase until the month you turn 70 years old, and it's called delayed retirement credits. So you get 8% added to your Social Security check for every year you delay your retirement until 70 years old. So sometime between, you start your survivor benefits, get those started, don't touch your own, and then, every now and then you check and say, okay, how much are my benefits on my own record now? And then, make sure you do it at 70. I get people all the time that, jump in here and says, "Hey, I'm 72 years old. When should I start collecting my Social Security benefits?" And I'm like, 2 years ago, because you lost a lot of benefits, unfortunately. You still get the COLA increase every year, but yeah, you're going to lose those benefits. This is for widows, surviving spouse benefits. You can't do that if your spouse, your ex-spouse, your divorced spouse is still out there alive and kicking. You can only do this if you're a widow. You used to be able to do that, but they changed that law in 2016. So please go out there and uh, there's a. I need a favor. There's a lot of people out there that their benefits on their own record have already surpassed what they were receiving on their surviving spouse benefits, but they don't know it. In my office, in every office in the country, you have a report is ran every quarter, sometimes every month, and it says, "Hey, in your particular district, there are this many people receiving surviving spouse benefits who are actually entitled to more benefits on their own record, and they forgot or whatever the case may be." So reach out to those people, send them a letter, and tell them to come on in. They have to file an application to get those extra benefits. But unfortunately, people don't pick up their, they change their address and it's sent to the wrong place. The mail doesn't deliver it. They don't open the mail. They don't understand. They think it's a scam or whatever the case may be, and they're losing money. So if you know anybody like that, Thanksgiving is coming up. This is a perfect opportunity. I think my son has convinced me that during Thanksgiving, I am going to do a long live Q&A. So you're going to have all your family at your house there. So young people, bring grandma and grandpa and uncle and aunts over to the computer and say, "Hey, you had a question about Social Security, and Ed is there." I think I'm going to do I don't know if it's going to be a Jerry Lewis type marathon, but I'll do at least 2 or 3 hours answering all your questions. So that'll be on Thanksgiving Day. All right, let's see. Will these changes affect people already on Social Security? I get widow's benefits. Um, Again, if it doesn't matter who the president was, who we chose as president, there are going to be changes in 2034, 2035, anywhere from a 17 to 20% cut if nothing is done, if we don't demand something to be done. So it doesn't matter who was president this time. Yes, there are going to be cuts if we don't do anything. So let's see. Other questions. Working ticket to work program was told. Okay, Kimberly. Yeah. So yeah, Kimberly asked us a question yesterday. Again, ticket to work. If you're receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, you are allowed to work. The first 9 months, the trial work period, you can make as much as you want, but after that, you have the extended period of eligibility. And every month you go over SGA, your substantial gainful activity, then you don't get benefits for that month. And what is SGA? This year, it's $1,550. And you're legally allowed to earn up to that. But I'm just giving you inside experience, as I gave you yesterday. I wouldn't go and make $1,549 because the red flag is this person is able to work, but they're smart and they know to work right up to the limit. So that might trigger a work CDR or a medical CDR, which is the continuing disability review. So it sounds like you really want to make 1550, so I can't stop you. So go for it. Fred, being solely on Medicare is a challenge in itself. Yes, I felt forced to retire when my company moved to an expensive, overcrowded city in another state. Caught off guard, but I always had Plan B. Yeah, Medicare. There's another thing. A lot of people make mistakes. They say they hear Medicare is mandatory if once you hit 65. If you get disability, you get Medicare after 24 months. But Once you hit 65, people told it's mandatory. Yes, it's mandatory, but there are exceptions. That's one of the reasons I do this channel, is because there's exceptions to exceptions to exceptions. If you have current insurance, health insurance from work, current work, yours or your spouse's, and your employer has 20 or more employees, you do not have to sign up for Part B. So if you're 65 and you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start my money. So start your money. If you start your money and you're 65, you have to sign up for Part A, and that's zero premium anyway for you. But you do not have to sign up for Part B if you have health insurance from work. So you just sign up for the money and Part A, and then 5 years later, 10 years later, when you're 75 or whatever the case may be, then you sign up for Part B. There's a couple of forms you need to fill out. Hey, this is the government. There's always forms, the 40B and the 564. I've talked about that. Come back here and I'll walk you through it again. And you just take one of those to your employer, and your employer says, yes, this person has had health insurance since they turned 65 years old, and you submit that, and there's no penalty whatsoever. But if you only have Medicare itself, then you've got a lot of gaps. If you got a few $1,000,000 in the bank account, then hey, Medicare alone, I guess, is for you. But most of us don't. And if you just have Medicare Part A and Part B alone, then you're going to be a world of hurt because there's so many gaps. One of the big ones is Medicare Part B. There's 20% coinsurance. So when you go to the doctor and you get a $100,000 Band-Aid, you have to pay 20,000 of that out of your pocket. So that's why people get either a Medicare supplement plan, the plans F and G and N, or a Medicare Advantage plan. And if you watch my channel, I always recommend Medicare supplement plans. I like plan N first because I'm cheap. G is a super, super, super close. You could flip flop those. Medicare Advantage, unfortunately, a lot of people get those because they can't afford the Medicare supplement, the monthly premium. But I wish there was something better, but Medicare Advantage is an alternative rather than just having all of those gaps. But there are prior authorizations and networks and stuff like that. So it just takes more effort to keep up on it if that's the way you choose, or budget chooses it for you. So if you need help, reach out to my partners. I looked all over the country for people to help you all out, and they are knocking it out of the park. 100% free review. Again, as I mentioned, there's close to 2 million plans that have been canceled this year. And I guarantee you there's hundreds of thousands of people that don't realize their plans have been canceled, and they wait when they go into the doctor or the hospital in January, they're going to have to pay everything, or their plan has been downgraded. And so, yeah, this is the craziest year for Medicare plans. And this is only for Medicare Advantage and the Part D prescription drug plans. If you have a Medicare supplement, you're good. Unless you want to, see if you can find a cheaper one out there. So, all right, let's see here. I'm living on $1,250 a month. After my Medicare and Advantage plan, I have small IRA. I'm going to have to withdraw it. I wanted to keep for emergency. Guess is my emergency. I wouldn't do anything. Obviously it's your money. You can do whatever you want. But the changes, are proposed, but, politicians, I don't care who politicians, since day one, politicians make campaign promises, and sometimes they don't. Surprise, surprise, surprise. They don't do anything. But if all you're receiving is $1,250 and you have a small IRA, so I'm not sure what you mean about small, but if all you're receiving, for all those people that are receiving basically under $1,600 a month, it really depends on your particular state. There's so much out there, other places you can go. So again, Thanksgiving, anybody that's struggling with just a small Social Security income, if they have just Medicare alone, they can go to the state Department of Social Services, Department of Welfare, whatever they call it in your state, and apply for Medicaid. It's a low-income, low-resource program. So if they're approved, Medicaid may be able to pay for your Part B premium, that $174.70. Next year it's going to be $185. So, they'll put that's an extra $185 in your pocket every month. And because you're on Medicaid, they pay a lot of the other deductibles for your drugs and, doctors and hospitals and all that other kind of stuff. So you can have Medicare and Medicaid. You can have those both. And then you get the Medicare Savings Program, is what it's called. They pay for your Part B, and then you get the extra help with prescription drugs. That helps you pay for your prescription drugs. And in those particular cases, I do recommend the Medicare Advantage because you can't get a Medicare supplement. It's illegal to sell you a Medicare supplement if you have Medicaid. Um, so you can get a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. And those are the ones you see kind of advertised. They're kind of scam advertising. It's kind of a switch type thing where you got some Medicare, someone, that gets on Facebook and they find the best grocery card, the over-the-counter card in the country. And, they find one in, my hometown, Paris, Texas, and, it might have, $3,000 a month on grocery card. And they advertise it to everybody in the country. So you call up from Tampa, Florida and say, hey, I saw your ad on, Facebook, $3,000. I want that. And they say, well, do you live in Paris, Texas? I said, no. Well, and do you have Medicaid? No. Okay, well, you can't get that. Sorry. And then they do the hard sell and try to sell you something else. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's way too much of that going on. But those things exist. People ask me all the time, do those things exist? Yes, 100% they do exist, but it really depends what's available in your particular area and what type of plan you have. So yes, check. Let's see. I think states who tax seniors are losing the longtime citizens who pay property taxes. Yeah, I get a lot of people that they're going to cheaper states that don't tax, and all the rest of it. Yes. And there's a lot of people going out of the country, expats. Let's see here. I've got tons of comments, so I'm just going to go down and kind of pick randomly. And I apologize if I don't answer your specific question. I do this live Q&A. This is my procedure: 3 o'clock West Coast time, 6 o'clock East Coast time. I do kind of a topic of the day, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then I answer questions the rest of the time. This seems to be a very popular video today, so I've got tons of stuff out there. So if I don't get your question today, cut and paste it. Come back, join me tomorrow, and put it up there first thing, and I'll answer it. So I'll get to everybody. Hate to see this go from info to politics, but if the unnecessary government spending can be curtailed or whittled down, there will be plenty of funds available. Yeah, it really depends what you can say. Yeah, the potato, right? What you consider unnecessary to you might be necessary to someone else. So. How is the fund running dry when so many people, such as my dad, paid in for 8 years but died at age 63 and never collected a dime? No one, such as a surviving spouse, got his benefits. I used to get those questions all the time, and invariably, when I worked at Social Security, someone would come in and say, yeah, the person died, and child reported the death or something, and who gets the benefits? And I said, well, just so happened about an hour ago, we had someone come in. It was a young wife with 2 kids. The father died in a car accident. He was only like 26 years old. I mean, this is a situation that happens, unfortunately, tragically, every single day. And those kids and the mother can get Social Security benefits for, until they're 18 years old. So where does your father's money go to? That's where it goes to. And the trust fund is there. It's still $2.7 trillion, as last time I've seen, 2.6 maybe now. And it is there. The trust fund does exist, and this year we are taking $70 billion out of the trust fund, and next year we'll take many billions of more money out of the trust fund. And basically, if everything stays exactly the same right now, the trust fund will be empty going to 2034 and 2035. And that was the intent. That was a trust fund that was started in the 80s. And the intent was, okay, baby boomers, 76 million baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964, one day they're going to get old. And so maybe we should put some money away in savings so we can address that in the future. And that's what the trust fund was started for. And now it's being used exactly how it was supposed to be used. But the problem is they miscalculated, thought y'all were going to have more kids, thought we were going to have more kids. And the big thing is they didn't realize how much money is going to the outside of FICA, the people making over 168,000. So those people don't pay into FICA. If that money was, earned by us regular Joe Schmoes, then trust fund would be good for a lot longer, but it's going to the higher ones. So yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to try to skip over just 100% political type stuff and try to answer questions to try to get you all the money you're entitled to. So here, raise the FICA tax, raise the FICA threshold. Yeah, those are two different things. So raise the FICA tax is everybody has to pay more. So rather than you paying, 6.2 and 6.2, 12.4%, then raising the FICA tax for everybody means, 15%, 16%, 20%, we all pay more. Raising the FICA cap is, I'm sure everybody on here, it won't increase payroll taxes. It won't increase taxes to you, but those making over $168,600 will have to pay, just like the rest of us. So they will give Social Security over to Wall Street. That will help us all. All earned wages should pay all taxes. No income should have caps that go without it. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going by random here. He talked about cutting government programs that are wasteful, investigating corruption. Why wouldn't he cancel retirement benefits for those who are caught in corruption and from programs that are cut? Retirement and corruption. Yeah, there's not. My decades working at Social Security, there was no real retirement corruption. We did have somebody from Pakistan that worked in the United States for years, and they, I guess, got their city hall in Pakistan to give them a fake birth certificate and proved and that they were a couple of years, older, and so they weren't reduced in their benefits. But we found that one, and they had to pay back all their money. So yeah, retirement. There's not. Yeah, it's because you get it based on the age and stuff. So disability, SSI, supplemental security income. Yeah, that absolutely. That should definitely be investigated, and any type of issues there. All right, here was an actual question. I'm 65 in January. Since Social Security may run out in 6 or 10 years, should I start taking Social Security early to get something back before it dries up? I was originally going to wait until 67. Yeah, that's a personal decision. When you decide when to start your benefits, there's a bunch of variables. The political landscape, obviously, it's that's nobody knows. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. But people ask me all the time, should I start at 62 or should I start at 65 or 67? There's so many different variables. Do you need the money? If you need the money, then yeah, obvious. Are you working? Remember, there's an annual earnings limit. So any $22,400, if you go over that this year, then Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. So there's an annual earnings limit. So if you're working, it might not be beneficial to take your benefits early. Once you hit your full retirement age, you can make as much money as you want. It doesn't matter anymore. Do you have any auxiliaries that are waiting for you to file for benefits? So if your spouse is waiting for your current spouse is waiting for you to file benefits so they can file benefits on your record, then it might be a good idea to go ahead and start if you need that money there. Ex-spouses, doesn't matter. This is a lot of people miss this. And please get this word out there. It's called independently entitled divorced spouse. So if you are 62 years old and you start your benefits and you were married to someone, divorced, married to that person for at least 10 years, you're entitled to benefits on that person's record. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if they have filed for benefits yet. If that person is at least 62 years old, you can file for benefits on that record. They're way with tens, hundreds of millions of dollars out there being just thrown away because people are sitting around twiddling their thumbs, waiting for their ex-spouse to file for benefits so they can file for spouse benefits. And you don't need to. As long as that person is at least 62, you can file for benefits on that person's record. It's called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful. And one of the problems is there's two problems. One is people don't know about it and they're throwing money away. And number two is, I hate to tell you this, but when I've told a lot of people this and they go to the local Social Security office and they talk to the people at the front window and the front window says, oh, no, your ex-spouse has to file for benefits first, has to be filing for benefits. And no. So you just ask for a supervisor. You say, I want to speak to a Title II claim specialist, Title II of the Social Security Act, an actual expert, not just a generalist at the front windows. And they take independently entitled divorce spouse benefits every day. So I've taken tens of thousands of them. So please, yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up. Get everybody in your family that's receiving Social Security and are about to receive Social Security, and let's make sure they're doing the right thing. All right. When I move to a new address, do I need to update with Social Security Administration? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So definitely Social Security, and that way, in case any weird letters come, then you'll get those letters, and if you don't understand it, you come back here, and I'll translate it into English. If you are receiving Medicare and a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage plan, then yes, and a prescription drug plan, then yes. Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans are pretty much zip code specific. So if you move, you might need to, if you just move across the block. Well, sometimes even if you move across the block, it's another zip code or another, another plans. So yes, you need to update. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, those are good for basically the entire state. So, all right, let's see here. So yes, you do definitely need to update Social Security and just call the 800 number. Or most importantly is go on to socialsecurity.gov, set up a My Social Security account. And that way you can, if you need a 1099, you can print it off. You need to change your address, you can do it there. And check your earnings record. So in the old days, we used to get the letter, once a year and says, okay, here's how much you paid into Social Security, but we don't get that anymore really. And so a lot of people are not checking their earnings record every year. And that is how it's determined how much money you're going to make from Social Security, how much your disability is going to be, how much your retirement is going to be, your spouse benefits. All of that is determined by how much you actually pay into Social Security over the high 35 years. It's not the last year or the last 5 years or 10 years. It's the high 35 years. And so Social Security looks at the high 35 years and they index it for inflation. And then they do those bin points I was talking about, the 90%, 32%, 15%, and then it comes up with your benefit amount. It's usually about a 45% replacement rate. So check your earnings record. And if it's wrong, get it fixed. If you find anything wrong, come back here and I'll walk you through the process of how to get that fixed. And please, again, Thanksgiving's coming up. You're going to have a lot of young people. So be the smart elder and say, hey, so you did your taxes, huh? Says, yeah, I did all my taxes, yada, yada, yada. Okay, did you do that last part? What last part? Well, a few weeks after you do your taxes, you go into your Social Security account and make sure those taxes made it to Social Security. Those earnings made it to Social Security. Because what happens is, you file your taxes, you send it to your buddies at the IRS, and your buddies at the IRS send it to Social Security. But sometimes along the way, something happens, and yeah, it's not recorded, and you lose benefits. And if you don't catch that early, it's extremely difficult to get it fixed later. So extremely difficult. So you can work while collecting Social Security. If you are not your full retirement age, you can earn up to $22,300 for the year. That is correct. So yes, and once you hit your full retirement age, that pretty much triples, and they don't hold back $1 for every $2 you go over there. They hold back $1 for every $3 you go over. And here's another thing a lot of people miss is there is an annual earnings limit, but there's also a monthly earnings limit. So the first month you start collecting benefits, that's what Social Security looks at. So let's say it's September, and you stop working in August. Up until August, you made $1 billion. And a lot of people say, oh, I made too much this year, so I can't file for benefits in September. No. If your wages, your income in September is under $1,860 this year, 2024, if it's under $1,860, the first month it's under that, and you stay under that for the rest of the year, you can start your Social Security benefits. Doesn't matter what you made before. So they can switch from an annual test to a monthly test. And then next year, then you have to stay under the annual earnings limit. So I just did a video on a couple days ago about, you can actually suspend benefits. And if you make a mistake and you say, oh, I shouldn't have filed to begin with, you can actually withdraw your application within 12 months. You have to pay the money back. But you withdraw it and it's like it never happened. That has to be done in the first 12 months. So let me see. Do you know anything about those supposed flex spending accounts that I've been hearing about? Are they attached to Medicare, the county, or is it a complete scam? The there, yeah, there's flex savings accounts, spending accounts, and there's HSA health savings accounts. But I think you're talking about the kind of the flex cards attached to their Medicare Advantage plans. Those are the ones, they advertise, grocery over the counter, and you can, pay for your electricity on some of them, and, all kinds of different stuff. But yeah, they do exist. But as I mentioned, they are advertised pretty scammy. But they do exist. But it really depends on your particular area and particularly what type of plan. If you're on Medicaid, those benefits are usually more than if you're not. So yeah, if you contact whoever signed you up for the Medicare plan, and they can walk you through it, or you can contact my partners there, and they can see what's available in your area. They do 100% free review for you. Let's see. I am currently receiving spousal benefits, and I'm on full-time oxygen and probably eligible for SSI. I monthly check. Should I worry about should I stay on survivors? So you are able to get retirement benefits and SSI, disability benefits and SSI, survivor benefits and SSI. So SSI is supplemental security income. It's the welfare-based program that Social Security administers. It's celebrating its 50th anniversary. It started, Social Security took it over from the states back in 1974, 50 years ago. Time flies, right? So the max you can get this year on SSI is $943. So if your survivor benefits are, let's say, $500, or retirement benefits are $500, or disability benefits are $500, then you apply for SSI. And if you're under 65, you have to be disabled to get SSI. If you're 65 or older, you can get it what's called SSI aged. So you can be eligible. So if your benefits are under $943, $943, and you don't have any other income or resources, pretty much, because it is a means tested welfare-based program, then you can get another $443. So you get $500 from whatever program, and then you get another $443. There's a $20 little exclusion there, but anyway, yes. So it is possible to get both. And here's what a lot of people miss is pieces of the puzzle. So if you're getting survivor benefits, retirement benefits, disability, and it's not very much, it's under 943, you can also get SSI, and you can get Medicare, possibly if you paid into the system. And because you're getting SSI, you're what's called categorically eligible for Medicaid. So you can go and get Medicaid, and then you get the extra help with prescription drugs, and then you get a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. And then you watch the video I did on how to live on Social Security alone. And I put a bunch of about 50 other programs in there that might make your life a bit easier. So Thanksgiving, between, football or whatever, watch that with people that are struggling around you. I did a longer 4-part series that's a lot longer, super boring introduction, and people usually just shut it off because the introduction is so boring. I suck at YouTube, sorry. But anyway, so that's a bunch of other programs that might be able to help you. Let me see here. Let's see what other kind of questions. Survivors widowed benefits can start collecting at age 60. That is correct. That's another thing a lot of people miss, is they think Social Security starts at 62. That's incorrect. Social Security retirement and spouse benefits, and but survivor benefits, surviving spouse benefits, you can start as early as 60. And actually, you can start as early as 50 years old if you're disabled. It's called DWIB, disabled widows benefits. If you're a disabled widow, you can collect benefits on your deceased spouse's record. It's 71.5% of their PIA, which is their primary insurance amount, their amount at their full retirement age, from 50 to 59 years old. But you have to be disabled widow's benefits. But starting 60, you can collect survivor benefits. And remember, you start your survivor benefits and you don't have to touch your own, and you just let yours increase, increase, increase. So my wife was on SSDI and transferred to SSI when age eligible, but is still chronically ill disabled. So your wife is on both. If she was receiving SSDI, then probably the SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, continues. They just gave, you know, a higher amount based on the SSI. Um, so but a lot of people, what they do is they put SSI, but they don't really mean SSI. They just mean Social Security Income, but there's no such acronym. It's SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So, all right, let's see here. I'm 66 and 8 months. I'm on survivor spouse benefits. Can I get the max amount now that I meet the age of getting the max benefits? I believe my husband's wages were always higher than mine. Okay, so you're on survivor benefits. So if you're already receiving benefits and you continue to receive those benefits, then that's your benefit amount. It won't automatically increase because you hit your full retirement age or anything. Yeah, once you take that early reduction, it's always reduced. If Here's what a lot of people on social media forget to tell you, if you continue to get those benefits. If you're let's say if you're receiving retirement benefits, you start at 62. And they'll tell you, once you start your benefits reduced, it's always going to be reduced. Yes and no. Yes, if you continue to get checks, that's going to be your benefit. There are ways to increase it. COLA increases it, and if you continue to work, and that's one of your high 35 years, that increases it. It's automatic. You don't need to worry about that. But if you stop receiving those benefits, let's say you're 63 years old and you go back to work and Social Security stops your benefits, suspends your benefits, starts withholding $1 for every $2 you go over, then you're not getting that check. And then what happens, a lot of people don't know this, is once you hit your full retirement age, they apply what's called an ARF, adjusted reduction factor. So let's say you start your benefits 30 months early. So your retirement benefits are reduced by 30 months. But then after 10 months, you go back to work and you don't get 20 months worth of checks. Once you hit your full retirement age, the Social Security computer system looks at your particular record. And once you restart your benefits, it says, hey, we're going to restart your benefits, but wait a second, we're going to restart it at 30 months. And that's not right. You only took 10 months of benefits. So they adjust the reduction factor. So from then on, you get your benefits, but it's only reduced by 10 months because that's the number of checks you received. So it's not reduced by the 30 months. So, all right, let's see. Jade, I have been waiting for my back pay for almost 3 months. They told me it takes long because of the amount. Yeah, no, it's because that doesn't make sense. Usually if it really depends what type of back pay we're looking at. If it's SSI and you get a like back pay, they usually break it up into, several months or something. But yeah, it doesn't really matter the amount necessarily. Push the button is push the button, whether it's $1 or, $20,000. But it really depends on if it was back pay because your case was approved at the administrative law judge, the ALJ, then it takes a while. Anything that is approved by the ALJ, it has to go through, the legal underwriting and get back to the office. Yeah, everything takes longer. But yeah, 3 months, that's unacceptable. I would reach out and say, hey, hey, I need my money. I understand Social Security is understaffed and all the rest of it, but I need my money. So, and if you don't get satisfaction, if they give you the runaround, then as I always recommend, then it's time to reach out to your politician, your senator, your House of Representatives. On their website, they always have, I need help with a federal agency. And you just type down there, fill it out, and they don't read it. They just send it, okay, here's a Social Security issue. And they send it to the Baltimore office. The Baltimore office sends it to the regional office, and the regional office sends it to the district office. And I used to get those, and we had to respond within 24 to 48 hours. So, yes, the Medicare Help from Chapter, they do Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, Part D plans. They don't charge anything for a review, so please review your plans for 2025. See whether your plan has been canceled, whether it's been downgraded to such an extent, because the insurance companies are smart. You know, they can do pretty much whatever they want with these plans, because they know a vast majority of people don't check it every year, the Medicare Advantage and the Part D plans. So that's what they're banking on. So they make all these changes. Last year, if you stayed in a hospital for a night, it was $100. Next year, it might be $300. And you're like, no, it's the same plan. I've had it for the same plan for 3 years. No, you haven't. Medicare Advantage and Part D plans expire after 1 year. So December 31st, like Cinderella, they're gone. You get a new plan. It might have the same card, the same zero premium. Insurance companies aren't dumb. They're not going to send you a new card and jack up your premium. Well, they might. Depends on your particular area. But they change the stuff under the hood. So you think you got a Corvette on your, and you wake up January 1st and you have a Ford Pinto. So, as I always say, sorry, Ford Pinto lovers. All right. Deemed filing since 2014 means can no longer draw half of ex-spouse and hold off drawing my own until later. Can you explain deemed filing? Yeah, so that was a plan that was that law that went through Congress, started 2016. It's basically deemed filing. So if you file for benefits on your own record, you have to file for benefits on your spouse's record. Before it was, you could, if your spouse, or you could kind of delay, and there was a split strategy, and, file and suspend. There was all kinds of different methods to, kind of strategize your Social Security benefits, but that one ended. So if you file for benefits on your record and your spouse is receiving benefits on their record, you have to file for those benefits. If your spouse is not receiving those benefits and they're waiting until their full retirement age, that's called a kind of a split strategy, where one files early, starts getting the money, and if they're entitled to spouse benefits, they file the spouse claim when that other spouse starts receiving. Doesn't Social Security pay you back what they took when you reach full retirement age if you earn over the annual? Okay, yep, that's the one I just answered there. So yeah, a lot of people, they unreduce your benefits. A lot of people think, well, they withheld, $1,000 of my checks for 12 months, so they owe me $12,000. Once I reach my full retirement age, they're going to cut me a check for $12,000. Yeah, no. So I wish that was true, but no. And then it would kind of defeat the purpose of the annual earnings limit. So they just unreduce your benefits. All right, let's see. I hope the Medicare you mean the QMB program that pays out Medicare premium ain't cut out. And you said something about Medicaid people going back to work. Oh, I have to go back to work. Yeah, I mean, that did happen under the Clinton administration. There was 5-year limit. You work for you get that was based on TANF. You work for 2 years, or you get it for 2 years, and then you have to stop, and then you get it for another 2 years and stop, and then you get it for 1 more year. You go at 5 years. So yeah, there has been all kinds of welfare to work, and that has been proposed and passed through legislation forever. But yeah, you're talking about the MSP, the QM. So Medicaid has different levels. Again, before I worked for Social Security, I worked for the Department of Social Services many moons ago, when I actually had less hair. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, so I've spent most of my adult life in the government bureaucracy. But Medicaid, there's different levels of Medicaid. The highest is like QMB, and then like QI and SlimB. Each state is a little bit different. So if you get those higher levels and a Medicare, then you can get the Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. But you're talking about the MSP, the Medicare Savings Program, where Medicaid pays for your Part B. And yes, I really hope they keep that, because taking $185 out of people's pockets that are the people that really can't afford the extra $185. I really, really hope that stays. I really hope that stays. I wish I knew that I could have gotten divorce spousal benefits, but I just got survivor benefits, so it was a great 70th birthday present for me. Yeah, so it sounds like yeah, if I had a dime for every time, I wish I had knew it. I wish someone told me that 5 years ago. I wish it known that 10 years ago. And Yeah, but it sounds like you did get something there. So happy 70th birthday as well. So, and that's why I ask you, it's not for me. Okay, it's a little bit for me, my ego. Subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. So this videos goes out to more people. And yes, I smile when I get the subscribers up. But the most important thing is it gets out to more people and people get the information because Social Security is doing a terrible job of getting information out there. Their budget is, you know, talking about giving over to Wall Street. The Social Security budget for all the offices throughout the country, all the staff and electricity and all that kind of stuff is less than 1%. You can go on the Social Security Trustees report, and it's about 1% of incoming. And yeah, if it's given over to Wall Street, probably the CEO of whoever gets it probably make 1% themselves. So yeah. So Social Security is pretty efficient. Could be more efficient? Yes. Elon, call me. I can tell you exactly where a bunch of places you could get some efficiency from. But yeah, I want it to stay here for my kids. When I turned 65, automatically signed me up. But I'm on my husband's insurance through work. They took out $200 from my Social Security, even though I tried to get it back. They won't get it back. Yeah, so that's how Medicare the the system works. Is if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits and then you turn 65, Medicare automatically signs you up. So you'll get the packet and with your Medicare part card in there at A and B and all that kind of stuff. What the problem happens is you don't get the packet. It doesn't deliver it. It's sent to the wrong address. You get so much junk when you turn 65. You know, there are big, data brokers out there that monitor your Google and everything. And they know when you're starting 65 and they sell that information to every health insurance broker and agent and company in the country. And they all send you junk when you turn 65 because they want to take you to the turning 65 Medicare dance. So you're like back in prom, the queen of the prom, king of the prom. And some of that stuff looks so official, so people just throw it away. And what happens is they throw away their actual official Medicare package. And they don't realize that they do have Medicare until a month or 2 months or 10 months later when they, check out their, bank account and see, well, it's, $174 short every month. So if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits, you turn 65, it's automatic. If you're not receiving Social Security benefits, if you're waiting till your full retirement age or 70 or whatever the case may be, and you don't have health insurance from work, then you do have to sign up. You have to manually sign up. You go online, sign up through SSA.gov, but you have to go ahead and sign up. So, all right. Wow, I've got we are an hour and I think we're going to call it a day. We've got a lot of political type stuff. And so y'all are interested in making sure the Social Security is here for us and our kids and all that kind of good stuff. That's historically what has happened is politicians, even in the 1980s, they said, hey, we're not going to hurt you. We're going to hurt your kids. Are you good with that? Oh yeah, as long as it, so we'll raise the retirement age on your kids. So, that's why they always say it's not going to reflect you, but, we'll pass the pain to your future generation. So I say we just do the right thing from the beginning. So, all right, that'll be it for tonight. If I didn't answer your specific Social Security, Medicare, retirement, disability question, please cut and paste it. And then I'll be back again tomorrow and then paste it in there first thing and I will get to it tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. Take